Hi, I'm Tina and welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time, I make content about selling on Amazon, a little bit of eBay. I talk about how I use Canva and just lots of things in between. So today's video topic is going to be, would I buy this or not? One thing I have learned is when I've been working with some students, I do some one-on-one coaching. A lot of people are really confused about things that they can buy or if they should buy it. So if you are a more seasoned seller, this video definitely is not for you, but feel free to watch if you want to. If you are a newer seller and just feel a bit overwhelmed on, is this item a good buy or not, I'm going to go over just a couple of listings and the tools I use and how I use them. So this listing here is for a 12-pack of these sauces, of these tomato sauces. We know it's a 12-pack because the person who created this listing made it very clear by how many cans they put, and Amazon makes this little handy-dandy 12-pack logo. Now, I use Inventory Lab, and I recently got rid of Seller Amp, and I use Scout X tool, which is included now for free with your Inventory Lab subscription. And I really like it. I think it does the job that Seller Amp did, minus being able to scrub somebody else's store, which is a feature I really didn't use very often anyway. So that is how I have this little calculator tool here. So we're going to pretend that this product cost $3. Of course, we know it would be much more than that, but I'm doing that for the purpose of showing, okay, this is a profitable item. Now, let's say it's not a profitable item. Let's say it actually is $1 per can, and we paid $12 for this. A lot of new sellers sometimes think, oh, $21, it only cost me $12, I'm going to make money. Well, as you can see here, you would lose $4.11, and that's because Amazon's fees are very, very high. And your items have to sell for quite a bit more than what you buy them for in order to profit. Now, you may see this net profit over here showing $6.26. This row is for merchant fulfilled sellers, and it would cost you more than this to even ship your item. So if you are a merchant fulfilled seller or thinking you want to be and you're going to have these tools, keep in mind that this profit here is a false profit because it is not taking into consideration your shipping cost. Now, moving down below, the other tool that I use, and this is the most powerful tool that I use, is Keepa. And this is something I have had to explain to many new sellers who are students of mine, how to read this chart. So the most important thing I see on this chart in this very top square is all of this area that is filled in with orange. You see that there's a gap right here where it's just solid white, and then we get the orange again. This solid white area is when Amazon was not on the listing. A solid orange area indicates that Amazon is consistently on a listing, and it can be very hard to compete against Amazon. If Amazon is the seller, more often than not, Amazon ends up being the only one selling the item, and then you are stuck not being able to sell the item. Now, this item sells very well. This middle area where you see this green area, when it's down low like this, it's moving a lot. Over here it looks bigger, like a stock market graph, and that is where it was moving very slow, even not at all. And we know this item sells well. We know that Amazon is on this listing. Now, when we come down here to the very bottom square, these purple lines going up and down indicate how many sellers are on this listing. So in the beginning here where I'm hovering, you can see new offer count 1. And as I hover, you can see that it's a little hard to catch. There were 3 people. It goes back down to 1. We're going to scroll over here where there seems to be more. There were 4 offers on it, 5 offers. It went down to 3. And then these lines split and break, and it's because sellers were falling off. Here, this big gap with no purple line, there were no sellers. And then we have this line and there was 1 offer. Now, correlating it up above, that 1 offer was Amazon. We can see that by this orange line. So that's really what these lines mean, which in the beginning can seem overwhelming. So there's other tabs on Keepa that also help you research this item. And let's say we think we can sell it. It looks like it's a good seller, and we want to know, does Amazon share the buy box? Well, what I like to do is I like to hover over this tab that says data, and then we can see that Amazon is the seller and the Keepers is another seller currently on this listing. We can see the Keepers is pricing below Amazon, and I'm sure they're doing that to get the buy box, and we see Amazon's price is $21.48. When I scroll over, I can see Amazon is in fact sharing the buy box on this listing. I can see that because in the last 30 days, the Keepers has sold 13 units of this listing, and Amazon is a question mark. We're not sure if they sold any at all. In the last 30 days, Amazon has sold 5 and the Keepers has sold 13. So that tells us that Amazon does share the buy box, I would assume, provided that we stay below Amazon's price. So we want to keep that in mind. So if you could get this listing at a good price, then I would say you could possibly compete with Amazon on a listing like this one. Now moving over to another listing, this is some Sonic drink packs. Excuse me, I need to take a drink. Speaking of drink packs, and I'm sure you've seen these in your local grocery store or any drink mixes like this, like Crystal Lights and the different drink mix brands. Now I know right now at my store these are currently on sale for $6, so I already plugged $6 in here, and I see as an FBA seller I would make $3.14. Another thing I would like to point out about Scout X is they have now included this feature for Small and Light. For those of you that don't know, Small and Light is a program with Amazon for items that are priced at $12 and under and that meet the correct measurements. So we can see these dimensions down here, the length, the width, and the height, and how much it weighs. And if this would be considered small and light, we could toggle over here and put this to small and light. We get a warning because our pricing is not correct. So if it was small and light, it would be $12. So we'll say we can compete at $12. We would still profit at 62 cents if that were the case. But we're going to go ahead and price this back to where it was at, which I think was like $14.13. And Scout X does a lot more. I'm just trying to show some quick little things. We can also see that there are 3 FBA offers and 2 merchant fulfilled offers. So we know we don't have a lot of competition. And if I want to see this listing, I see we have different variations. So something to keep in mind when you're on a listing that has different variations, the main Keepa chart doesn't necessarily tell the story of the one variation that you might be looking at. So I will go down here to Keepa and I would look at the variations tab. And I can see all of the different variations on this listing. I can see their current price points. They're all roughly the same, which is good because we don't want to see that one is incredibly cheaper than another. Sometimes you will have one that's much higher than the others, and it's because that particular one is the more desired one, and perhaps there's less competition, less sellers, and they don't have a lot in stock. The Keepa graph here tells us with this little trophy that this top listing is the one that more than likely sells the most. They've had the most reviews, and going on down, this one has had 0 reviews, and this one is 56% of the ratings. And we can see that it's also been the one on here the longest. It's been on here 315 days. This one at 244 days, this at 250 days. So looking at this variation tab can also help tell a story. Also, I like to look at the price points. I like to see that the pricing is staying consistent. And you can see on this one, scrolling over it, we see that it was very consistent for a long time, and now it's starting to dip down. Same with all of these. They're starting to dip down this year in the summer. And with inflation and prices going higher, we should start seeing Amazon prices going up this year compared to last year. So I don't necessarily love that story. I do want to see the data on this, and we want to scroll over here to offers. I want to see how many offers are on this particular variation, and we can see how many people we are competing against on this variation. And I want to see, is a buy box being rotated? So I see that these bottom 3 sellers have sold quite a bit. This bottom one has sold 189 in the last 30 days. This one 60, this one 46, and these top 2, none to very little. Now, are they priced higher? So as you can see, this $14.99 is priced higher than $13.87, and they sold more. They are also a prime offer, and this bottom one here, who had sold the most, is also a prime offer. These ones here that don't say prime, these are FBA sellers. So this tells a story too. Can an FBA and a merchant fulfilled compete? And I would say not as great, or wait, this one, oh yeah, this one at $13.85 is priced just below these lower prime members, and they still sold 60 units in 30 days. So this tells me I can compete against an FBA offer if I am priced to be able to compete with those offers. I want to see, and if I hover here over statistic, I can see that it says it's selling roughly 31 units a month. So we can see how these numbers can be so conflicting when it just showed that that one seller had sold over 100 in the last 30 days. And that is where sometimes Keepa can be very confusing. We can see that Amazon had been on it, but Amazon has been off of it for quite some time. We also see by the green line at the bottom that the sales rank is picking up and sales are moving. But at this time of year, I think the drink mixes start selling more. So this is a type of an item that sells more seasonally. Drink mixes generally sell more seasonally. So on something like this, if I got it for $6, I would check Keepa there, see which variation was the one selling the best, and then I would consider sending in a couple of these to test. If you have Inventory Lab and have Scout X, you can use this feature right here, and it will do the same. It will pull up the variation reviews, and it will put it in order as which ones are the better selling variations, and you can see the price points for the lowest FBA, the lowest price, buy box, etc., and tell you how many offers are on each of these. And there doesn't seem to be too many offers, so you're not competing against too many other sellers. And on listings like this, you want to get in and out quickly because eventually a lot of other sellers are going to find this listing too. Now, this item is something that I have found at Hobby Lobby in the past, and this is something I have sold in the past. This will come back in stock eventually. These usually are sold around Christmas time, and it's the old classic ant farm. And this item is on Amazon, and it's always $9.99. I've never found it cheaper. And so we're going to go over here to Amazon, and we're going to find, I think it's called Milton Ant Farm, but I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and we are going to paste it. Whoops. We're going to paste it here, and we can find it on Amazon. Uncle Milton, this is it. I think there might be a couple of listings for this Uncle Milton Ant Farm. So there may be another one. I'm not sure if this is the one that I have sold on before. And at $9.99, which you will be able to find these again eventually. These are really seasonal. These sell really well, and these are profitable. I know there's another listing for this one. This one doesn't look like the one I have sold on before. And see, someone's made a bundle here. I teach a bundles course with my partner reseller mom. So look, there are quite a few listings for these ant farms, and a few people bundled them, probably because the main listing got flooded. I've never understood how these ant farms have been around since I was a kid, probably the kids before me, because as a mother, I would have never let my kids have an ant farm in the house. No. So, I think this was a very same, no, it's a different one. See, the other one had the little boy in it. And now at $9.99, I don't know that this one is going to be profitable either. They might be higher at Christmas. Wait, I forgot to look at the profit. Can we see the profit? I'm going to say 23 because it's close to 23. I wonder why this one is not giving us the data here. There's something wrong with this listing. I don't know if it's just this page or what. But this looks like it's a steady seller. We see down below sellers going on, sellers going off. And even with that, we can see up here for the most part, except going back here to September and October, the price had really dropped down to like $18, $19. Then it goes up to the 24. It even goes up as high as $26.99. This is right before Christmas. It dropped again at 20. So when I see prices going up and down like this, I like to see when they were their highest and when did they drop the lowest, to know if I'm selling mine at that time of year. It seems that it was very high in January, but certainly here in February, all the way through until recently it started to jump up again. It seemed like all this year the pricing stayed consistent with sellers going on and off the listing. We want to see that prices are consistent. We want to see sellers going up and down without price wars happening. That is something I definitely like on a listing. But when I'm considering buying and I see the price way down here at $18, if I had mine in stock for a long time, I would want to know, can I compete at $18? And did these people maybe get it on sale and they were, does it go on clearance somewhere at that time? I don't know. But the things you want to look for is consistency in pricing, and when there's a lot of people here, see down below this purple line, there was a lot of sellers in here at the time. It was the most sellers that there ever was, which coincides with price tanking and the price really going down to $18. It looks like these were their all-time lows on this listing. So these are things that I also look at to just overanalyze. I want to know what time of year am I sending it in? How has it been doing the last 90 days? How did it do last year at this time? Last year in July, it was going for roughly $25. So do I think I could sell out in July before August gets here and the price tanks? Am I getting it on clearance? Do I want to hold on to it and send it in, at Christmas time and into January when sales were at an all-time high? The story this year tells me so far it has stayed around $22 to $25. So as long as I can profit between $22 and $25 at my buy cost, then this is something I would consider buying. So, you can overanalyze products to death. That is for sure. But one thing you want to keep in mind is you do want to make those educated decisions. One last thing I really wanted to point out, forgot my R here, is there is a brand called Crazy Art. And Crazy Art, I know for a fact, issues IP complaints. Another thing that I really recommend a newer seller do is get the Chrome extension that will give you these little lights right here. And it's called IP Alert. This IP Alert Chrome extension is free, and it really helps save you from buying things that it seems like you're approved to sell, but these companies issue IP complaints. And so these warnings here at a glance are really nice to know. If I click on this Crazy Art pencils here, computer wants to be slowing down, I should also get a pop-up warning. See, IP alert. This brand is known to file IP complaints. It's really nice to know this at a glance before you end up buying something that you may end up getting an IP complaint on your account for. Sometimes these are false IP complaints, so you do want to be aware of that. One thing I usually look for is if there's a lot of sellers. And on this one, there is a lot of sellers, which makes me think that Amazon does not necessarily, or Crazy Art doesn't necessarily issue IP complaints, or these are a lot of pre-approved sellers from Crazy Art that Crazy Art has given permission to sell their brand. Usually they don't give this many sellers permission, so I don't know if all of these people are got IP complaints, and that's why we saw the seller count drop way down, because Crazy Art went through and, you know, sent all these people IP complaints. I've listed a Crazy Art item. I got an IP complaint. So I personally stay away from Crazy Art. So if you are a newer seller that doesn't have enough experience to know when sometimes this IP alert maybe is a false IP alert, I would recommend you stay away from anything that gives you this warning from your IP Alert Chrome extension, which is a nice free tool. Now, I know I didn't totally deep dive into using Keepa and analyzing listings, but I just wanted to give you some food for thought of things you should look out for. Product research for me and most sellers is the most unfun part because it's doing homework, and I didn't even like doing homework in school. The fun part is when you do find that winner, you find it in stock somewhere, you send it in and sell it. I mean, the shopping is fun, the finding the winning items and getting a replen is fun, but the hours and hours of research it can take to find them really is not the most fun thing to do. So I recommend just spending an hour a day and trying to find some items, and then move on to other tasks you like. If you feel like you can do 2 to 3 hours a day doing research, then by all means do so. But when it becomes tiresome, go ahead and give it a break and go do something else. So if you're a newer seller and you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell, and with that, I thank you kindly for watching.